Your voice recorded, Abe, so I could listen back to it, anytime I like.
My soothing dulcet tones.
Exactly, reminds me of better days. Yeah.
I'll just read audiobooks for you, Regan.
Yeah.
I'll just get like 50 Shades of Grey and read it.
Yeah, so that sounds good, man. If you're willing to do that, it'd be great.
I actually thought about that one time, mate, just reading like a couple of chapters from 50 Shades of Grey and just uploading it to YouTube. All right, we'll kick things off, huh? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Overcast Gamer Show. You're joined by me. My name's Abe Foster. I'm also joined by...
Balthazar Valentine.
And Regan Harper.
And you've tuned in to the very last episode of 2016. It's all done and dusted, boys.
Oh, shit. It is going to be the last one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the very last one. Yeah. We're all on Christmas vacation, Christmas break after this. And games have stopped. They've stopped flowing.
Yeah, they have indeed. Games news as well.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing for Christmas? You got much on?
A little bit. Yeah, going to Napier for a few days and then going back to the home with the parents and just chilling in front of the fire, probably. To be honest.
In front of the fire.
Yeah, man.
In summer.
Oh, even at night it gets cold in summer, man. Like it still gets cold. I just like having the fire. Like the fire's a homely feeling for me.
Yeah, sure.
I just love a cup of tea and a good book in front of the fire. Can't get much better than that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty special. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, you sound like an 80-year-old woman talking about like your bones getting cold in the middle of winter.
Mate, I'm going to have some ginger nuts on hand too. You better believe it.
Nice. Yeah.
What about you guys?
We're fortunate enough our family has a batch in Whangamata up in the Coromandel, so
Nice.
Cruising up there for Christmas and then back to Wellington for New Year's, which I would imagine will be New Year's for us is usually like an evening of playing board games and things like that, which is
that's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet, yeah. Well, board games and beer pong, so it's usually good times.
Yeah. Nice one, Balthazar.
I'll probably nip up to Parramatta for a bit.
Oh,
See
yeah.
my parents up there, sister, and then come back to Wellington and just do nothing.
Play some computer games.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's my
Very
Christmas
good.
too. It's not all about the family.
Yeah, over the years I've come to not really give a toss about. I like seeing people and I like the food. Like the presents and all that is just a pain. It's a massive pain in the ass.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's like it's the foresight and planning, and like I enjoy people receiving a gift and enjoying what I got them, that level of it. But and also there's this side of it where you're having to like bow down to consumerism. Like, I don't like just going out and spending money for the sake of it, but I kind of have to for Christmas. Yeah. And that irks me.
I had to go to the mall in the last sort of couple of weeks. Every now and then I'll be dipping in there to pick up another gift or something like that for someone. And the mall is just absolute chaos. So I'm in West Auckland and Massey, and there shouldn't be, you wouldn't think there'd be that many people out west, but holy crap, absolute chaos, eh? Like the warehouse is just horrible place to be at the moment. Yeah,
I bet. I don't think we've really quite reached like the whole Black Friday kind of levels, that you see people like tromping on each other in America, but it's getting bad.
It's not great. You just see so much crap everywhere. It's like, there's this like plastic doowacky and, someone's going to receive it and then it's going to go in the back closet for the rest of all eternity. Like, it's just such garbage, eh? It's got me down a wee bit on Christmas, unfortunately. The complete opposite of what's supposed to happen. But
never mind, man. Never mind.
That's all right. Let's have a yarn about 2016 in general in terms of the gaming landscape, because it's been a pretty damn good year for gaming, to be honest.
It has been good, and we were talking earlier about how life in general and all the world, people are pretty down on 2016 as a year of events in general. But gaming's been pretty damn good.
Yeah. I mean, we kicked things off earlier in the year with Uncharted 4. That was sort of the biggest release from my memory. That was the sort of first part of the year. When did Overwatch come out, Balthazar?
June, I think.
June, yeah. So
June.
similar-ish June, so middle of the year for Overwatch. The only things that of note that I remember was Far Cry Primal, and that was like January or February.
Yeah, it was quite an early release, I think. I didn't get that until I'll admit I bought that game, but not until I had a warehouse voucher and it was like $60, so I got it for like 40, and at that price it's hard to complain, really. I mean, what else did we have early on in the year? When did The Witness come out? That was fairly early.
Oh yeah, The Witness was this year, wasn't it? Jesus, yeah, it's been a long year. Witness was. It must have been around March, I imagine. So yeah, that would have been one of the first ones. Let's have a look here.
Dark Souls 3 was relatively early as well, like March or April. Maybe.
Oh yes, it was too.
Yeah, it would have been. Yep.
Oh yeah, the Witness was January 24th. So yeah, that was one of the earliest. One of the very earliest. Yeah.
We would have also, in this sort of same indie vein, we would have had, was Firewatch this year?
Yeah,
Firewatch
it was. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Man, there's quite a few when you stop and really start thinking about it.
Yeah, no, there was quite a few like triple A's before even the middle of the year kind of thing.
We had some solid DLC for some games from last year as well.
Yeah, Witcher Blood and Wine.
Witcher Blood and Wine is the obvious one that jumps to mind.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of shit about this whole, I guess, on the hardware front, like
loads of hardware stuff.
Yeah, just oodles of it. Like,
so we had the Xbox One S at E3 that was revealed. I remember that, and then we had the PlayStation Neo rumors were surfacing earlier in the year, or PlayStation 4.5 as they called it at the time, and then it was revealed to be Neo, codename Neo, and then we had the nothing from Nintendo until the last sort of 3 or 4 months of the year, right? They didn't really do anything. Everyone was sort of waiting with bated breath for that. But now we have the Nintendo Switch, which is coming out. What is it? March next year, I think.
March next year. Yep.
Yeah, and they're having a thing in January, a Nintendo sort of demonstration thing, I guess, to show off more of the Switch and what it can do.
Yep.
It'll be good.
We had VR.
We did have
PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
That was another thing that came along and kind of, I feel like they set expectations pretty well with that. Still waiting on a good game. I would say,
the killer app for VR hasn't quite come along, has it?
Not quite. But I mean, we've got the hardware, so that's cool.
Yeah. VR was an interesting one, because it was something I was watching, but I wasn't in any way going to take part. Because I was, I'm not an early adopter generally. I'll wait for the things to get the issues ironed out and all that sort of stuff. So I sort of watched it from afar, and people seem to be enjoying it, but it's not, it doesn't seem to be the next, craze or anything like that. I don't actually know anyone with PlayStation VR.
Neither do I.
I know one person with VR.
One person, yeah.
Who got it?
Ern.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I mean, out of the three of us and the 2 degrees of separation that we have, one person is not particularly great. Yes. Yeah, so I don't know, interesting. I know a couple of people who have a Vive and one person who has an Oculus, but apart from that, it's been just a bit. It seems to be a very niche thing. Like if you're into the VR thing, you're in it hard, and if you're not, you just watch it from afar and just hum and ah.
Yeah, sit and patiently wait for that thing, the big thing that's going to make everyone go, you know what, probably need to get some VR now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've, speaking of games, some other ones that just came to mind, Ratchet and Clank came out this year, which was a fantastic game. It's sort of just one that sits on my shelf now. I finished it and I was just like, oh, that's done and dusted. Good game.
Yeah, and it was. I think that was a good example of one of the remasters coming out and being like at an awesome price point. Everyone was like excited about it, and it just came out and it did well for its time, and kind of served its purpose, and and everyone was just kind of sort of happy with it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the price for Ratchet and Clank, because that was an interesting one. Because when that came out, it almost immediately went to $60.
Yeah, well, was that the plan?
That was I think that was always the planned release price for it. Pretty much.
See, like, we haven't had any, like, that's not even a remaster, it's a reboot, right? It's a complete reboot of that game. And remasters are generally as expensive as regular triple A's and stuff like that. Well, when they come out in New Zealand, I think like most of them are anyway. I remember when The Last of Us Remastered came out, it was about $85.
Yeah, I mean, would you have been happy, like, because I wasn't a big Ratchet and Clank player with the originals. I mean, would you have wanted to pay a full price for that reboot?
I wouldn't want to pay full price for anything. But
touche.
Yeah, that's just me. But I mean, it was a good enough game that I don't think I would have been unhappy if I paid $85 kind of thing. So it was just another plus for that game that it was set at 60.
Yeah. No, I think they did well in that decision. I wonder if maybe it was like aimed at kids, and so they figured, we want to set the price point low so that kids can get in on it with their pocket money or something.
Potentially because they had the movie coming out at the same time, right? They had the movie tie-in.
That was my thought. I was wondering if, because it was a first party, like, Ratchet and Clank is a Sony IP kind of thing. So they almost certainly had their, hand in the movie as well. So I'm wondering if it was something to do with the fact that the game simply used assets that already existed from the production of the movie. So the game itself may not have been anywhere near as pricey to develop as another game because all of the visual assets, all the character models, the world models and everything already existed. So they thought, fuck it, let's just release a game as well and we can price it cheaper to boost sales on it.
I think you might be right with that, actually, because I remember I haven't seen the movie. Apparently, it's awful. But apparently the movie is just a bunch of cutscenes from the game.
I wouldn't. Yeah, probably sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, it works in one direction. Like you play the game and you're like, man, this is awesome. This looks like one of those movies. But perhaps not the other direction. Like you don't watch the movie and go, this looks just like that game. Like it's not quite the same that way around, perhaps.
No, it's that weird Inception type thing. It's a movie based on a game, based on a I don't even want to get into it. It's doing my head in, but it's like the Lego games that are toys based on games, based on toys, based on movies, and it just gets absolutely out of hand. But we also had we'll get into things in the moment because we're going to do our Overcast Gamer Awards, of course, this episode. But we had things like Doom, we had Uncharted 4, we had Mafia 3, we had Titanfall, we had Watch Dogs 2, all like insane amount of good value this year, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I think something like Doom is a really big one when you think of how successful that was, and especially if you haven't seen the No Clip series recently, if you're listening to this and you haven't looked into it, check out Danny O'Dwyer's series on YouTube about Doom and the creation of Doom.
Absolutely, Doom Resurrected, I think it's called.
Yeah, I'm sure if you jump on YouTube and just search like Doom documentary or something, you'll get it. But phenomenal, like like you were saying, Abe, like new respect for those guys at id for what they did there. Yeah,
completely revamping their Doom 4, which was essentially going to be a Call of Duty type game, and saying no, this doesn't feel like Doom. We're scrapping the whole thing. I don't know how happy Bethesda and ZeniMax were about that, losing a whole bunch of money. But
where was that sense when Doom 3 was in development? Where was that voice then saying, "No, this doesn't feel like Doom"?
Yeah. I never played Doom 3.
Did you?
I just took a bite of.
Balthazar got like a mouthful of biscuit, and he's like, "This is your opening, man. Come on, get in there."
I actually did enjoy Doom 3, but not as a Doom game.
It's just sort of a survival horror game.
Not even survival horror, because there was no survival element. Ammo was plentiful, and enemies weren't really, too pressing. It was fun as a semi-cinematic shooter.
Okay.
But it didn't really feel like a Doom game.
Did you play that one on PC back in the day, or?
I did, yeah. Well, I tried to play it back in the day, but I was a little bitch and it scared me, so I played it more recently. And yeah, it was good fun.
Nice. Yeah, it looked sort of akin to Half-Life, like that style of horror kind of thing.
Where it's not necessarily meant to be scary so much as the setting is meant to be kind of,
imposing and claustrophobic.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, definitely. But Doom did very well indeed. That was another game that actually came out and went cheap quite fast. Doom. I remember picking that up from the late Dick Smith Electronics for $60. Probably about a month or two after it released, I think.
Yeah, I think we all got on that deal. I got it from Dick Smith as well for,
Yeah.
I think, that price, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you being particularly excited about that. Like, check this out. Like, you know.
Oh, it just came out of nowhere, eh? I was just checking, I think, Price Buy, looking for the best price on that game because I wanted it, and I saw Dick Smith had it for 60. I was like, what? What is this? And then they closed down. So maybe that's why. Maybe they just sold Doom too cheap and put themselves out of business.
Yeah, sounds like a decision they would have made.
Anyway, anything else gaming wise? And I suppose we had the PlayStation Pro sort of weird thing where Sony didn't really mention it very much. It just sort of happened, and they didn't put any money towards the marketing. They obviously didn't want to split their player base. Original PS4, which is now the PS4 Slim, and the PS4 Pro. So that just kind of came out, and I suppose their thoughts were the hardcore gamers are going to know about this, and they're going to be the ones buying it. So we don't need to put any money towards marketing.
I think the thing that got me even more than the lack of marketing for the Pro was there was even less marketing for the Slim. I didn't know that thing existed at all until it was on shelves, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, this is Slim now." When did that happen?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
That's just sort of completely replaced the original PlayStation 4, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of a strange one actually by Sony, but they seem to be still.
Go on.
Yeah, they're still doing very well in terms of sales, like financially. Everything's going well. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting decision, Mr. Sean Layden and others, but yeah, seems to be all right.
Yeah, I found it a really strange decision because there was so many, obviously third party made, but still, Sony kind of allowed peripherals or add-ons to the console for the standard PS4 that don't work with the Pro, the Slim, because the Slim doesn't have the same system of, the top bits sliding off and stuff like that in the directions. So they've effectively just completely nullified a bunch of third-party products that existed for the PS4 by replacing it with the Slim.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision, and I think, in future, in the next couple of years, do you guys think it's going to be these little half increments kind of thing, or in terms of the step up in technology?
I wouldn't like to hazard a guess, because it's funny because we've been talking about how 2016 has been such a good year for games, which it has, but it's also been the year that, as it's gone on, has cemented more and more for me that after this console generation, I'm going to be Nintendo and PC. Like, I'm not sticking with future, Sony or Microsoft consoles or anything.
Right.
So I wouldn't like to hazard a guess purely because I'm certain Nintendo will, because they actually started it. People forget, but Nintendo started the 0.5 generation boot thing with the new 3DS when they put that out. That was just a 3DS 0.5. It had a slightly more powerful processor and everything in it. And people forget that now because it wasn't a major console, but that's exactly what it was.
Don't kid yourself. Nintendo are industry leaders.
But with the announcement of the Switch next year, it looks like they may potentially be foregoing handheld as a separate system with what the Switch looks like it's doing.
And is 3DS just going to become obsolete?
Yeah, and if that is the case, then I don't think there will be 0.5s again. I don't know. They kind of said that the Switch will make or break the console division of Nintendo. If it doesn't do well, they're out of the console game, or if it does, they're staying in for a while longer. But the statement "a while longer" makes it sound like they may not be developing future consoles. They'll just continue to provide support for the Switch for a really long time.
Right.
Which would indicate to me they're definitely not going to be in the 0.5 game anymore. And I'd say they're probably going to be out of the separate handheld system game as well, and just focus everything on the Switch as both a handheld and a console.
Yeah, well, I mean, the best possibility that I can think of, and this is something I've always thought would be quite cool, is if Nintendo stopped being a hardware manufacturer and just made software and made software for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, they did it recently with the Mario Run or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what sort of brought this to mind. Like, if they started just making games and I could buy Nintendo games to play on my PlayStation, that's a world I want to live in.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal. But I don't know. Yeah, interesting little hardware updates and things like that. But Xbox is also having Project Scorpio, which is coming out next year in autumn in America. So, I mean, is PlayStation, like, how's PlayStation going to compete with that? Because Scorpio is obviously, they're advertising it as being the most powerful console ever made, and they're obviously going to do everything in their power to, that's the marketing, that's the brand of the Scorpio, is it's this beast of a powerhouse of a thing. So it has to be considerably more powerful than the Pro. And so what is Sony going to do when that comes out?
Yeah, well, I think Sony's kind of played their cards a little bit early. Like they, I mean, the Pro is, it's in my mind a little bit half baked. Like I don't understand why you would get it unless you were just, like you'd had the original PS4 for a while and you were like, oh, it's, the fans starting to get a bit crowded up and I might as well just go and get a new one. I might as well get a Pro. Like, it's just kind of a convenience thing. There's nothing about it that excites me to go out and, grab one. Whereas if you're getting an Xbox that is genuine, like, let's say for argument's sake that it genuinely competes with a PC, probably won't, but it's let's say imagine it did. That's a huge selling point rather than it just potentially being like the Pro that kind of upscales to 4K. Like, I don't know. I feel like Sony hasn't quite hit the nail on the head with the Pro.
No, it's an interesting thing. It's another, like VR, I'm just sort of apathetic to it at the moment. I'm sort of like, it's in my mind, and I'm always like, oh yeah, Pro, what about Pro? But at the moment, I'm just, I don't really have a reason to, apart from the fact that I just want new things.
Well, yeah, maybe that's it. They're just appealing to us all being consumerists,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I might just stick with my my regular role PlayStation 4. It seems to be going fine, so I don't see any reason to upgrade.
Plus, you hear about those compatibility issues every now and again as well, with games performing worse on the Pro than on the standard as well.
That's a bit strange, eh? I'm not too sure what's going on there. I'll tell you what, if they offered a Witcher 3 Pro upgrade where I could play Witcher 3 at 60 frames on my PlayStation 4, I'd go out and buy one right now.
Because that to me is just another example of like the game. You have to have the game. Like, hardware is fine, but if there's no games, or there's not that compelling sell as far as software to run on it, then what's the point?
Yeah, definitely.
They do have that upgrade for you as well, though. I have the guarantee upgrade where you can play Witcher 3 much better. 60 plus FPS, 4K resolution and everything.
Oh, really? On PS Pro?
No, PC.
Oh, right.
That's what you do there, Abe. If you want that experience and that's the system seller for you, go out and build a PC today.
I knew where that was leading, so I had to get quiet. Because I know I've been looking into Witcher 3 and they're like, no, we're not releasing PlayStation Pro patch. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. Like, they're obviously putting all of their effort into their new game, so yeah, all good.
Yeah. And the last couple of months we've also had Pokemon released, which was the fastest selling I think handheld game ever.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it did really well in those first kind of couple of weeks of sales. And still being pushed as well, like like this, it's still coming up in like catalogs and things.
Christmas title, really. For
kids. It is a good Christmas title. Yeah, I saw it discounted the other day and was tempted to pick it up, and then realised I have like a backlog of about 4 games on my PlayStation 4 that I need to finish. It's like no, just wait. You don't need it. Just wait. But yeah, I think
do you want it though? That's the real question.
Yeah, do you want it? Yeah.
I do. But no, I think I can hold off. But I think that's pretty much 2016, to be honest. In retrospect, I can't think of much more there. So let's move on to the main event, boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
Nice.
There you go.
So
that's the theme song for the OCG Awards. Yeah,
it's a sweet theme song. So the OCG Awards. We've got a bunch of categories here. Not your usual categories, I would say.
No.
Bit more creative than the regular old, this and that they generally have. So I think the way we're going to do it is we've got about 3 to 4 nominees for each category. And what I'll do is I'll read out the category and the nominees, and then we'll just have a good old-fashioned debate. About which one deserves the title of insert X here.
I like this because people are going to be able to hear our rationale as we go through this. which should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
All right, sweet. So the first one on my list, which is we'll start with a downer, as you do. And the first one on my list here is biggest shit show.
Yes.
Now, 2016 definitely had some some pretty bad PR moves, some games that weren't finished in general, and we've narrowed it down to 3 here. So the first nominee, unsurprisingly, No Man's Sky. Now, No Man's Sky has been nominated for everything.
As in the shit show was just everything surrounding the game.
Everything surrounding the game. The hype, the letdown, the non-communication from the developers, the lying about being able to do various things, the lack of graphical fidelity that was promised as well. Everything, just everything.
Just everything.
Yeah. So that's a big one there. Second nominee we've got here is the Arkham Collection graphical debacle. Now, do you guys remember this earlier in the year?
I don't remember too much detail about it because I wasn't huge into these games. So fill us in. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So everyone loves the Arkham games, or everyone who's played them is a big fan of them. And we wanted them to be able to play them on our new generation consoles. Arkham Knight, I think, was the only one that came out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Not PC because they completely botched that launch. I think they pulled that off Steam, didn't they, Balthazar?
Yeah, they did. They took it out and they refunded people who bought it. Completely
not available to play on PC. I've never heard anything like that. But anyway, the Arkham Collection. Yeah, so they released a trailer for this, and there was a massive backlash because the graphics looked barely better than the originals. Some people even argued parts looked worse than the originals. So it was originally released with the release date, and then the backlash happened, and they took down the release date and just had this company. I'm not sure which company was working on it, but had this company work on it a bit more. Release another trailer for it later on in the year, and it was still bad. I think that game's out now, but it came out without any sort of fuss, and I don't think it's sold very well at all, which is a big shame because, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are fantastic games, really, really good games. So, bit of an all-round shit show there. The final one that we have for this category is the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Backlash. Now, this was the sight to behold because it finally happened. People got sick of COD. We knew it would happen eventually.
Do you think that's what caused it? I mean,
I think that's what caused it. People just got sick of Call of Duty, sick of seeing the same old. It was also the tendency that they made in the Advanced Warfare period to jetpacks and exoskeletons and things like that. People weren't too hot on that.
I actually don't think that was much to do with the backlash on the trailer, to be honest.
Oh, yeah?
Because the dislikes on the trailer were directly proportionate to the likes on the Battlefield 1 trailer that came out at the same time. It was literally just fanboy wars. It was the group that liked Battlefield 1 and the group that liked Call of Duty, and they were all thumbs downing each other's videos, and Battlefield 1 just had way more supporters.
Let's have a look here. I'm just going to bring up both trailers here and see what the stats are at the moment. So we'll do the Infinite Warfare trailer.
And I think that now probably it's slightly balanced out again because people will have liked the Infinite Warfare trailer based on maybe gone back to it after the actual game and been like, oh, actually, this game wasn't shit. Yeah, it was actually better than Battlefield 1 because that game turned out to be shit.
Battlefield 1...
As I called it right from the start, that it would just be full of fully automatic weapons again and not representative of World War One whatsoever.
Battlefield 1 was okay, but
I wouldn't call it shit at all, by any stretch kind of thing. It was a fine game. It just wasn't. It was just another shooter to me. It just didn't feel really interesting or new or anything like that. Props to Battlefield for trying something different. Yeah. And for
I think it would have done better if they committed to it. if they committed to trying something different and didn't, make it a modern FPS set in World War One, they made it a World War One FPS set in World War One, I think it would have done much better. They just didn't commit. They had the idea and they didn't follow through. They're like, they're like Apple. Apple had the idea that it's revolutionary to remove the headphone jack, so they did it from the iPhone 7. And then they didn't commit, and they released a new MacBook, and it has the headphone jack in it again.
I think that's a good thing, though, right?
It is for the consumer because people are against it, but it totally goes against their reasoning behind removing it from the iPhone 7. They said it was obsolete and just taking up space that could be used for better things, and that everyone should be using Bluetooth anyway. Fuck you if you're not. And then they went ahead and put it back in the thing, and they didn't commit. If they committed, at least they would have saved their own face with the release of the laptop. But instead, when they re-released that, everyone was like, the fuck are you doing? You've just said it's garbage and shouldn't be in any devices anymore, and now you've added it again. So they lost face because they didn't commit. Everyone just needs to commit when they make a decision.
This sounds eerily familiar to the Xbox One launch with the always online and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Where they turned around and said, "Oh no, it's not going to have this."
Sorry.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, "What? No, we can't have family sharing. This is bullshit." Xbox is like, "What? What you said you hated it." But I'm looking at the stats on this Infinite Warfare reveal trailer. We've got 36 million views, and out of that, we've got 500,000 likes. 3,400,000 dislikes. 3 million dislikes. That's unprecedented for a trailer.
I'm pretty sure that was a record at the time, wasn't it? Which is great. I feel so. All right, let's weigh up our three options here. No Man's Sky, given the fact that we have everything to do with that game, was a shit show.
It was. There was no redeeming factor from that whole debacle, right?
Not a single redeeming factor. I mean, they've released some stuff since then, but I feel like that doesn't really count as far as being part of our considerations for the shit show. So my vote is going to go to No Man's Sky.
I think I might have to follow you with that, Regan. It's it's not a game that I hated when I played it. I actually enjoyed 15 hours of cruising around in that game. But yeah, there was so little content in there, and just the way they treated the release, and the way they just had radio silence for about 80 days, not acceptable.
No. Yeah. Agreed.
I agree. Yeah, I follow suit as well with the simple fact that Infinite Warfare, when it came out, the shit show ended. People enjoyed the game, so when the shit show did exist was done. Arkham Collection, the fact that it, maybe came out, you reckon, but no, it's disappeared into obscurity. No one cares anymore, therefore the shit show no longer exists. No Man's Sky came out, but is still an ongoing shit show. Every time any of the devs, interact publicly with the community, it just escalates further and prolongs the shit show. It's ongoing. It's still happening, so it's got to be No Man's Sky.
If you guys go to the No Man's Sky subreddit, it's a very depressing place. That is. They had a counter before the most recent Foundation update where there silence between last communication from Sean Murray, and they have a day counter. And it's just people. The whole community has turned on that game.
Yeah, it's a shame. But congratulations, No Man's Sky. You are the winner of OCG Biggest Shit Show.
Good on you, Hello Games, wherever you are, hiding in often in Middle England somewhere. Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on you. I highly doubt they'll probably never. What do you guys reckon? You reckon they'll release another game?
Not for a long time, and possibly under a different.
Yeah, they'll
brand.
change their name. They won't be Hello Games anymore, and it'll be a long time later, and there will be no mention of from the studio that brought you No Man's Sky.
Imagine that on a trailer, right? Oh, everyone just start booing. All right, well, good on you, No Man's Sky, biggest shit show. Next award we've got here: best use of wind and clouds and or rain. Now, this is appropriate because we are the Overcast Gamer. We do take notice of weather effects, and especially depressing looking weather in games. So, nominees for best use of wind and cloud and or rain: Fire Emblem Fates for wind and rain. That was Balthazar. I think you popped that one in there.
Yeah, there were just a few missions throughout the 3 games in the Fates series that involved wind and pushing your units around, and it was pretty interesting use.
Yep.
Use of weather, and
an actual mechanical use of the weather.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Second nominee we've got here, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
Yes.
Now, I don't. Do you guys remember the part in Uncharted 4 where I'm trying to remember because I haven't played it for a while, but you come off a shipwreck or something like that, and it's just super grim. You're injured and you're wandering around, and you're climbing all these shiny rocks.
The whole scene leading up to it as well, where you're actually on the boat. Like, what was it? You're being chased, aren't you, on the boat? And there's the storm coming then as well, and you're kind of battling, trying to steer towards the island, but at the same time, the wind is, pushing your boat in different directions and pushing the waves at you. It was very cool.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's the same boat ride that opens the game, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I do remember. I just remember being completely blown away with just how depressing the situation was when you crash and Nathan's just all injured and he's trying to climb these rocks, and they've just animated it so well that you can feel his pain as he's trying to climb these rocks. He's got this, he's trying to climb with one arm at one point, and he's just like, ugh. And like lying down every now and then and just being like, and I was just like, oh, you poor man.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal use of wind and rain there. Good dog, good dog, good job, naughty dog.
good dog, naughty job. Final nominee for this category, and I'm going to be honest, it's a bit of a piss take, but Cloud Strife added to Smash Bros.
Yes.
Yep. So Cloud in name, not so much the weather itself. But I mean, I don't know any. I don't have a Wii U, or I don't have Smash Bros on 3DS. So Balthazar, do you want to fill us in on this one?
I pretty much was just added to the game. Stock standard additional fighter put in a fighting game. He's got some moves.
Was he
limit break?
Is he? Like that. Oh, does he have? Is it Omni Slash?
It is.
Yeah, awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You guys are speaking another language now. So I my vote for this one would have to go to Uncharted 4, just for how unbelievably depressing it was.
Honestly, I think I'm going to go with you on that one as well, Abe. Like Mines and all that. Mostly because that's the only game of the 3 that I've played.
Yeah.
But it was pretty phenomenal. And I mean, my biggest thing was the way that, when rain's coming down, we know it intimately here in Wellington, sideways rain, and you have those big sheets of rain that come in and you can kind of see them coming towards you. That kind of stuff in a game was pretty special to see. So yeah, I'm with you. Uncharted 4.
Nice. Balthazar?
We can't all be unanimous for every category. I concede the win to Uncharted 4, 2 against 1, and I thought that scene was phenomenal and one of the most memorable moments in the game. There's also the fact that we didn't bring it up, but the final scene as well, where you're fighting Rafe, I believe there was some pretty neat weather effects when you're swimming towards the boat as well before it catches fire. I seem to recall that scene sticking out a bit too. My vote does go to Fire Emblem Fates because they took the weather and turned it into a mechanic, and I think that was really cool, but I have no problem whatsoever conceding that to Uncharted 4. Phenomenal use of wind and rain in that.
Good stuff, Uncharted 4. It's a round of applause.
Woo.
Excellent work, Uncharted 4. I've actually got to replay that game, because I've been thinking about it for ages, ever since I've been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, which, to be honest, I was a little not too hot on when I started, and I'm actually really enjoying it now. So it's picked itself up. It's I think it's just because I did have Uncharted 4 in my memory, and just comparing it to Uncharted 4 is a frivolous endeavour.
It's a crime, really, to any game to compare it to an Uncharted game.
It is, yeah. They set the bar way too high. So good on you, Uncharted 4. Right, next award, the award for biggest dick. Biggest dick of the year.
No legitimate phalluses here.
No. Unfortunately, if we had memorable wangs from games past come to mind, the Lost and Damned Grand Theft Auto 4. There's a good nude scene in there.
Specifically, since you said legendary wangs, I give it to Wang from Shadow Warrior, the protagonist.
Nice. There's also a Wang from Tekken Tag Tournament.
There is, yep.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, none of those guys nominated this time. this time around, and no actual nudity. I can't think of a game that had full frontal mount.
Was it called Rust or something? There was that PC early access game where you start off, you wake up on a desert island and you're just naked, and it's full wang. Full flop and wang.
That does sound like Rust. I've never played Rust, but that sounds like what I've heard it's about. Nudist colonies. Yeah. Establish your nudist colony. Nominees for biggest dick are Rafe from Uncharted 4. So the antagonist, who you sort of... Rafe gets a special mention because he does start off as... it's pretty predictable that he's going to be a dick, but he does start off as a nice guy. He starts off as your friend in the prison. And he's sort of helping you, sort of thing. So for him to just turn on you, that's a bit of a dick move. So
big
bonus
dick
points.
Move. Yeah.
Big dick move. Yeah. Second nominee for biggest dick is Sean Murray. Hello, Games. No one saw that one coming. I mean, the lying and the conniving and the manipulation cements Sean Murray's nomination here.
And that shit-eating grin.
Yeah,
you can't get past it. That face, like...
just the way in which he made himself out to be a great guy from a small village, or he was originally from Australia, but he seemed like the small town English sort of dude. And they're in my mind some of the best kind of people out there. They're just they're lovely people, and they just want to help everyone. And he just seemed like a humble sort of indie dev, and turned out to be a pathological liar. So Sean Murray, definitely nomination for biggest dick there. Balthazar, do you want to read out the final one?
The third nominee in this category is Genji, or more specifically, any fucker who plays Genji.
So this is Genji from Overwatch. Do you want to elaborate as to why Genji?
He's a dick. He's people who play Genji well typically also trash talk a lot. They know they're playing a character who, when played well, can counter pretty much anyone. And so, instead of humbly acknowledging that they've mastered someone who can be relatively difficult to master, they just say, "Learn to play, dickweed," and move on. So,
Would you say he's an OP character?
I wouldn't. No. I would say he's got plenty of counters. He's just, if he's played really well, he's definitely a character who can be the biggest thorn in your side if played by someone who really knows how to play him.
And Genji's the one with the sword, right?
Yeah. The one who, when we played together, I exclusively played Genji.
Yeah.
And killed all the enemy team dickweeds. So,
yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, what do you think, fellas? Where your head's at?
Sean Murray.
Yeah, same here.
I'm the same.
The thing about Sean Murray is that you're right. He's like, if you met him on the street, you'd think to yourself, lovely guy. I'll buy him a beer. I'd buy him 2 beers maybe. But yeah, he's just, through his actions, he's really built a hole, dug a hole for himself. And
he built up that trust, right? He built up that trust and that that good guy persona. And completely, he knew what he was doing, or he has to have known what he was doing, which makes it all the worse, all the more manipulative, all the more conniving. Sean Murray, you're the biggest dick of the year, mate.
Yep, congratulations, Sean Murray, biggest dick of the year.
Only award you're ever going to win, mate.
It's unfortunate. All right, we'll go into this one. Kiwi Retailer of the Year. Now, there's apologies for the name dropping that's about to happen here, but there are 3 relatively large companies that have been nominated. New Zealand doesn't really have one standout, unfortunately, one standout sort of indie retailer or anything like that. So we had to go with some bigger ones. So nominees for Kiwi Retailer of the Year are JB Hi-Fi, The Warehouse, and New Zealand Game Shop. Now, this is a controversial one because New Zealand Game Shop shipped from England.
Yes, and JB Hi-Fi, as far as I know, is an Australian company.
They are an Australian company, correct. Yes. Correct.
So, I mean, I guess my thing, because I think I was the one who put JB Hi-Fi first. The reason I put that forward is that they had the JB Hi-Fi here in Wellington, good stuff. I've never been kind of, affronted by any of the people in there.
Yeah.
Always happy to just kind of have a yarn as well. Like if you go in and you're saying, oh yeah, I'm thinking about getting this game, whatever, happy to have a yarn.
Yep.
You don't feel like you're being overly sold on things. They don't really care if you buy something or not. And they generally have pretty good prices on new stuff that's come out. So, yeah. My vote, I'm just going to throw this in there early, JB Hi-Fi.
JB Hi-Fi, yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna rebuttal JB Hi-Fi somewhat. Just a wee bit. There are a couple of reasons. Now this sort of point is exclusive to the Wellington JB Hi-Fi, I think.
Okay.
So the Wellington JB Hi-Fi has always smelled terrible. And I'm not sure what it is, whether it's their air conditioning doesn't work or what, but it just smells of perspiration.
It is like down in a dungeon grotto type area.
It is. It's just not. It doesn't make for a pleasant browsing experience. JB Hi-Fi. The other point I have, against JB, is they seem to have some sort of arbitrary pricing system. So you'll find a secondhand game like I did this year. I found what's that bloody Media Molecule game called with the paper? Everyone's made of paper. Tearaway. Tearaway Unfolded. I found that for $17. Thought that was pretty damn good. I pretty much buy any PlayStation 4 game for $17. And pick that up. Right next to it, God of War 3 remaster, which had been out for quite a long time, $85. Second hand. What's going on there?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got that for cheaper than $85 new from JB.
Yeah,
you did. You got it on a cost sale, I think.
Yeah, I did.
They've probably just got some business model on that goes, what do we anticipate a game's like perceived value is going to be when someone finds it as used, and how much can we milk out of it, I guess.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well with me. That doesn't that's not something I look for in a Kiwi retailer of the year.
Yeah, I suppose.
To be fair, let's talk about the next nominee and see if you guys have any shade to throw on the Warehouse, because the Warehouse have actually been pretty solid for me in terms of, the Warehouse they're not trendsetters. They're not the ones who go, hey, we've got a really good price on this, but they are, when they have sales or when they follow through, they're very good for price matching also. They can provide some pretty good prices. So I'm just thinking of they had Doom earlier in the year for $50. Pretty decent price for that.
Yep, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I've price matched with JB and EB at the Warehouse multiple times, and got things for $80, $75 sometimes, depending on if I show them the Australian price or not. So the Warehouse, points in my book for being negligible. In terms of not assessing price matching properly, plus that's a plus for me.
Yeah.
Just some decent sales. Do you guys have anything good or bad to say about the Warehouse?
I'll rebuttal that on the Warehouse for the same reason as you rebutted JB. The arbitrary pricing system they seem to have at the Warehouse. Yep. You're right, often you'll go in and they'll have a new release game surprisingly cheap, or they'll price match it somewhere that's not necessarily actually something they should be price matching and give it to you really cheap. But if you go in there for a recent release, you look at something maybe that came out a month or two ago, $130, no reason at all, more expensive than EB. I've gone in there and I've seen a game that's years old that sells for like $30 for like $99. They have no concept of what they're selling actually is worth in the current market or anything. I reviewed it for the same reason that you did, JB, that if they're not doing a deal, they seem to have the most arbitrary pricing system of any retailer out there.
I'd probably actually give that to you, because I do remember going in there when I was trying to find the Phantom Pain and they had it for about $120. And it was just like, what is going on? So, I don't know. Points for being negligible, but you lose points for being ignorant, the Warehouse. So,
exactly.
That's a bit of a tricky one. The last nominee we've got is New Zealand Game Shop. Now, do you guys use these guys much?
I I do, not lots, because typically I don't want to wait. You guys know me, I'm not someone who will wait for the best deal. I will just buy something the day I want it from the first place I see it at a price that I agree with. But I've used them, a lot in the past when I have been bothered waiting for things, and they're great. I love NZ Game Shop.
Yeah. So I really enjoy them as well. Now, New Zealand Game Shop have really good prices almost all the time, at least $20 to $30 cheaper than every other store in New Zealand. They do ship from England, so if you buy a game from there, you do have to take into account that it's going to take about probably 2 working weeks to get to you, or 12 days or something like that. So you can't buy a game that you want in the next couple of days. It's not going to happen. That being said, I bought the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Modern Warfare Remaster bundle thingy from there, knowing that I didn't really care when it would turn up. It would just be sweet, once it rocked up. And yeah, it came in about a week. I think it was quite fast, and it was $100, which was about $60 cheaper than everywhere else. Yeah. So good on you, New Zealand Game Shop. I don't really have much bad to say about them, apart from it's a pain that it takes so long for them to get here.
But then that's probably, that's certainly factored into why they're so cheap. If they're, sourcing it from a European or British game supplier, that's why they can get it so much cheaper. And
That's true. I've actually just thought of another thing. Because they do come from England, they don't have New Zealand ratings on them, so you can't resell them on online auction sites or something like that.
I see. Yeah. And
So
that's not the end. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. I don't think they accept them for trade either. So you're kind of buying it for.
Oh, they don't if you don't take one of their stickers off the shelf and put it over it. But EB don't give a fuck. You just walk in there, you peel the sticker off the same game case in New Zealand, and slap that over it, because the New Zealand cases, they have it printed on, obviously, the picture, the sleeve thing that's in the sleeve, and then they have the sticker on the sleeve as well. So you just take the sticker off the sleeve, doesn't negate anything that's on that game case, but lets you trade in your one. It's great.
Nice. Yeah. Good tip there. Yeah. Good tip.
All right. Well, if anyone's got any other points about any three of these retailers, who are your nominations going?
This year's a tough one for me because I've not used the warehouse at all this year. I don't think I've used NZ Game Shop this year. And JB I've used maybe once, and it was recently to get The Last Guardian for $80 when it was like over 100 everywhere else. That said, I think I'm going to give my vote to NZ Game Shop because of my historic experience with them, and every experience I've had with them has been just phenomenal. So I'm going to give my vote to NZ Game Shop.
Nice one. Reagan?
I am going to give it. I'm going to be stalwart here, and I'm going to go for JB Hi-Fi because generally I enjoy the experience of popping in there. But that's kind of it, really. Next time I go in, I'm probably going to be, sniffing about, trying to figure out what,
It really does stink, and it's only the warehouse one. Sorry, not the warehouse one, the Wellington one. My vote. Well, we can't have a three. We can't have one vote for each. So I'm going to go. I'm New Zealand Game Shop as well.
There you go.
New Zealand Game Shop takes it out for having really good prices. They often have promotional codes that they'll email you as well for 10% off every now and then. They had one that was just Trump that you put in after Trump won, and you got 10% off. So that was really good. So congratulations, New Zealand Game Shop.
Good job, Tim.
I'm going to throw out an honourable mention here because it's so baffling that this person would get an honourable mention, or this retailer, but they did something recently which I just want to shout them out for. So, as we know, EB Games sucks. Their prices are the steepest. Their service is subpar. Don't seem to know what the fuck is going on with anything, frankly. But I did get an email from them the other day with a free Steam code in it for Assault Android Cactus, which I was pretty bitter about not winning when people were voting for PS Plus games earlier in the year. Yeah. Instead, they voted for fucking Bro Force or Bro Team or whatever it was called. And that game, I didn't play it the whole way through because it was shit. You tried to play it the whole way through. I believe, was it this one where you tried to play it and the frame rate just dropped to like 5?
It had horrific frame rate.
And so I was pretty bitter, salty for the whole year that I never got that game for free. And then EB just emails me and is like, hey, have this game for free. So I want to give them an honourable mention because while they suck as a retailer, they seem to occasionally give out free games. I mean, if you guys recall the other year as well, they gave me that free copy of Werewolf Fight Simulator What was it called? We tried to play it and it sucked. But yeah, so every now and again they'll give you a free game, and that doesn't redeem them as a retailer, but maybe gives them a bit of credibility as the humans that work there and pull the strings.
Now we should also caveat this with you are a black club member or whatever it's called with EB Games.
Yes,
so you are.
I give my card to everyone when they want to make a console purchase, like Regan and Casey, and it quickly skyrocketed me up to that black card. It's like, hey, no worry, guys, use this.
Do you think that comes into them giving you a whole bunch of free shit?
Oh, most certainly.
Yeah. So they treat you well if you're in their high flyers club.
If you're one of their elite.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But other than that, they just sell Adventure Time mugs and Modern Warfare 2 at $120.
Yep.
Unfortunately, EB Games, no, nothing for you. Right, we'll get on to the next award here. Most baffling business decision. Now, this is an interesting one because there's been a few. It's not quite a shit show, but it's one part of a shit show. So it's just sort of a terrible PR or a price point or anything like that. So the nominees for most baffling business decision are No Man's Sky, full price tag. So this was the decision by Hello Games to release what was essentially a glorified tech demo for a full AAA price tag. I believe it was about $90 in New Zealand.
It was around that. Not a good business decision there. No.
How would you guys have felt about this game if it was released for, say, $60?
Exactly the same. So,
yeah, that's the thing. Given the hype and all of that sort of stuff, like I'm not sure if the price tag would have changed my attitude towards it. It perhaps would have been slightly redeeming, but I would have still considered it not a great game.
You probably would have had less, or maybe had less people returning it, and more people willing to wait and see if they added things in patches.
Yeah.
If they didn't pay as much for it, but people would have been equally unhappy when they played it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the backlash was inevitable with that one. Really, the proof was in the game or lack thereof. So yeah, unfortunately, Hello Games, you might take another one. Might be your third, award in the worst way possible. Second nomination we've got here is the PS Pro, not actually an upgrade.
Well, we talked about this earlier, didn't we? And kind of before we started giving the awards. It just, I mean, I think this was my one where essentially it kind of, I just don't understand it. Like, it's a timing thing. It's like they were just trying to get it out before Scorpio came out so they could soak up a bit of the market, which as far as like, I guess for them could be a good business decision, but as far as being for the gamers, not so much.
I'm not sure if I said it on a past podcast or just to you guys, but I stand by what I said when the Pro first came out, that it seems way more like a parallel dimension PS4 release. Like if we were in a different alternate universe where the PS4 didn't come out for an extra 4 or 5 years, the Pro is what would have come out instead of the PS4, and it would just be called the PS4. It's not actually an upgrade from the PS4. It's just a slight, minor tweak in a parallel direction that, it's running perpendicular to the current PS4. It's just a complete cross-section now of what could have been, what never will be, and everything's fucked up, really. It's just...
Well, I'll tack onto that the fact that it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player, which made a lot of people very unhappy. And was a baffling business decision because Sony owns the Blu-ray format, or has a big stake in the Blu-ray format, which seems very, very strange that they wouldn't include that.
Yeah, it leaves me a little bit speechless, to be honest. Especially when it's meant to be, 4K is its fucking dealio. Like,
4K is the new buzzword, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bad business decision, Sony. Bad.
The third one we've got here is Bethesda ceases to give out review copies prior to launch. So this was only a couple of months ago that this came to light. Bethesda released a statement saying they're no longer going to be giving out giving reviewers code prior to the launch of the games, because they don't feel it's fair and they want everyone to have the same go of it on day one. Now, there doesn't seem to be anything I can glean from this apart from an ulterior motive. It doesn't. I mean, it's not consumer friendly to me. It's pretty much them saying, we don't want you to know our game's shit before you buy it.
Yeah.
It's really just basically, because I guess they could say that like having review copies out there could be counterintuitive to all the marketing that they do. So it might even be a push from their marketing people to being like, hey, we put all this time and effort into marketing our games, and then the reviewers, when they get it, they just kind of like, they just say whatever they want, blah, 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 and ruin our message. So I think it's more of a control thing.
But I mean, Ubisoft did that, and they still give review copies. They just do their thing now where before... So whoever they give review copies to, before they put any footage up or anything or talk about it, they have to submit it back to Ubisoft, and they cut things they don't want talked about from it.
Which is
it is, which is terrible as well. But it's less terrible than just saying you don't at all get to review the game.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's almost worse.
Then the content creator can choose not to put it out and be like, well, you've censored all of my opinions, so I'm not going to put the content out at all. I'll wait until the embargo is lifted when it actually launches, and then I'll tell people it's
Then I'll talk shit all over it. Yeah, I suppose.
So then they still have the option. Bethesda's removed options entirely. Like, I'm always I'd rather be given the option than, just be told outright no. Yeah. So while Ubisoft, terrible decision as well, the Bethesda one to completely get rid of them, it's just, I think it's much worse.
And I think it's only bad for the consumer, and I'm not a fan of it all. So, what do you guys think? Which one?
I kind of work these out in my head based on what I can justify maybe not fitting into the category anymore. So once you kind of talk through it in your head. So for me, I guess No Man's Sky full price tag. The game was shit and no one's going to give it the time of day, so really they just had to get the most out of it. They knew it on launch, they had to get the most out of it they could. So they did it for full price tag to try and make as much money as they could, recover what they spent developing it, and move on. So it kind of makes sense. They had to do a full price tag. If they did less, they wouldn't have made as much money and everyone would still fucking hate them. Bethesda not giving out review copies, like you said, Abe, almost certainly just an ulterior motive behind it. It's not necessarily a baffling business decision, because it's more likely they're refusing to update their engine or something like that, and they don't want people to know that it's still running on the same shitty old 10-year engine prior to it launching. They want people to spend their money first and then discover that it still sucks and is buggy as hell. PS4 Pro, not actually an upgrade. Still don't understand what the fuck is going on with that. That still baffles me. I still can't work out what the fuck the PS4 Pro is or what function it's supposed to serve. So my vote goes to that.
You've actually made pretty damn good arguments for eliminating both those other two. Coming at it from the perspective of the business, those do actually make sense. As in No Man's Sky giving it the full price tag, trying to milk it for all it's worth before people realised it was a bag of ass. And then, Bethesda, not giving out review copies so they can do the same thing, get as many copies into people's hands before people realise it's terrible. My vote actually goes to the PS4 Pro as well.
Yep, same here.
All right.
Yeah, so it's unanimous, that one. Congratulations.
PS4 Pro, not actually an upgrade. I didn't actually see that one coming, so that's Balthazar. You made a pretty damn good argument there, man. Pretty convincing.
It really is, especially when you consider the category. It is about business, and you can make an arguments for the other two.
I mean, they're all baffling decisions from a consumer point of view, but from a business point of view, two of them, while they still are baffling to the consumer as to why it was done, you can kind of you can logically say, well, as a business, these will work in their favour in the end, maybe.
Good stuff. All right, we'll go on to the next category here. Now, we've got best use of sound. So this one's actually pretty straightforward, as opposed to many of the ones we've done prior to this. Best use of sound.
I guess we should say that sound includes soundtrack.
Yes, absolutely. So sound effects, sound design, sound editing, everything inclusive in that. So we've got 3 nominees for this one. Reagan, do you want to read out the first nominee there?
The first nominee for this year's Overcast Game of Best Use of Sound is Doom.
Doom, id Software's Doom. Now, this had, for me, this had the best metal, best game metal soundtrack of the year for sure. I couldn't stop headbanging playing this game. Absolutely amazing. And then they had the live performance of this at the Game Awards, which was phenomenal. And then seeing the interviews with Mick Gordon, the composer, and just how he made the soundtrack is absolutely fascinating, and I think just speaks volume for the quality of that game.
The thing that got me about the soundtrack was not necessarily the sound, like the music itself, which was great, but the use of kind of like I guess the sound to react to what was going on in the environment at the time. Like when you're doing your glory kills and things, you get that really awesome sort of like dropping away of the soundtrack and then it coming in, strong again as you kill the demon. Like those sorts of things were just clever and really added to that like fast-paced flow of the game.
It gave it like a rhythm game aspect, right? Almost made it like, let's like kill the shit out of these people to the beat.
Yeah, well, exactly. Doom is a phenomenal, has phenomenal use of sound, I would say.
Yep.
Second nomination, Inside. So Playdead Studios' Inside.
Very, very minimal, very haunting, amazing sound in this game. The soundtrack is you could miss it. You could quite easily miss it. It's that sort of much in the background, but my God, is it gorgeous. It's super, super minimal, and the sound effects as well are amazing. There's gorgeous reverberation when you're running through a desolate hallway, or some dogs are coming for you, and it just sounds, it's just absolutely terrifying. The sounds.
Absolutely, the shrieks of people as they run away from the large kind of globule of humanity at the end of the game.
Spoilers for Inside there, but
sorry about that. You'll survive. And also, it also springs to mind the use of the large kind of pulses of what seemed like sound in one part of the game.
They were big sound waves.
Yeah, which were kind of built in as a mechanic, which were really cool. I found that section really quite haunting.
Absolutely. You have to hide behind the sort of big pieces of lead or whatever they are, big bits of machinery. Absolutely phenomenal, the soundtrack of Inside.
And our third and final nominee for Best Use of Sound this year is Fury.
So Fury, free PS Plus game back in July, I want to say. The Game Bakers, I think, developed that one. Maybe their first game, not sure. Similar to Doom. The soundtrack just made it, it almost transcend the action genre into a rhythm genre as well. It was very much kill the enemies to the beat. That was implemented into the gameplay as well, with timing your button presses so that to the beat would flow the combos together longer and do more damage and things like that. So similar reasons to Doom. Just phenomenal use of soundtrack. The rest of the sound itself, effects and things like that. Nothing super special there. But at the same time, they were so integral in the gameplay. Particular sounds. There were the sounds that indicated whether you could block an attack or whether you had to dodge it, kind of thing. And just things like that are things that you don't really think about in games because they are so integral. They get ingrained in your head. When you hear that, you do this. And I guess Fury having such a phenomenal soundtrack, it got me to think about the rest of the sound as well, and I guess just appreciate game sound more in general, with how, we have these instinctive reactions we do when we hear particular sounds. That's a part of the soundtrack. That's designed. That's intentional. And that's pretty spectacular.
Very cool.
Cool. So that made you, that sort of broadened your mind and made you think about sound design in general.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. All right. Well, where do you guys lay on this one?
My nomination is Doom. Go for Doom for all the reasons that we spoke about.
Yeah. I'm torn. I think I'm going to have to go for Doom as well, because that soundtrack is not just for the game. I listen to that soundtrack in my everyday life. I listen to it at work. I listen to it when I'm walking around town. I listen to it at home. It's now one of my favorite soundtracks probably ever. So Inside is great. but it only works during the game. Doom works anywhere. So, I mean, for that application, Doom goes to Doom.
There you go. Balthazar?
This is a tough one for me. I give my vote to Doom as well.
Yep.
I think while all the reasons of Fury and Doom effectively, being nominated for the same reasons were brought up, Fury as a game, the action, hack and slash button bashing genre is a lot closer to a rhythm game than a full FPS action shooter is. So the fact that Doom's soundtrack allowed it to kind of, transcend to a space between genres is a much bigger impact than a game that was already semi-close to that.
Right.
Though I will say with Fury, much like you, Abe, saying, the Doom soundtrack is a soundtrack for your life. It's not just in Doom, you listen to it everywhere. I pop the Fury soundtrack on all the fucking time. It's been on my phone since I first played the game. My alarm that I wake up to every morning for 6 months has been a track from Fury. So for me, I've got the same feelings for the Fury soundtrack as the Doom soundtrack, but I think the use of the soundtrack within the game itself, Doom was more impactful.
Very nice. Congratulations, Doom. It's software. And Mick Gordon, the composer, especially. Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. All right, we'll move on to the next award here. Now, this is a very special award. It's rather niche.
Niche is fine, but niche is fine. It's I think this award's gonna come back year on year. I think it's gonna be,
I think so too. Balthazar, do you wanna tell us this one, man?
Sure. So the next award category is the most Hideo Kojima move not pulled by Hideo Kojima.
So if we sort of elaborate on that a wee bit, this is essentially some sort of bizarre twist that no one saw coming, but ended up working rather well. And everyone, there wasn't really a bad word to say about it. It's just something we couldn't have seen coming. We didn't have the foresight to see this. It seemed to come from the mind of a madman. But ended up working its way and doing good things for the industry. So, first nominee, Balthazar.
First nominee, as in the last category, is Doom.
Nice.
Nominated in this category for a couple of reasons. The first being the actual release of the game compared to the early gameplay we saw from E3 the previous year, was it maybe?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It just changed completely. The previous gameplay, no one was particularly pumped for it. It looked like a pretty repetitive, generic FPS with, what became the glory kills at the time looked slow, like they bogged down the action gameplay and almost like they made it more like Gears of War, where it was, becoming too slow and cumbersome and didn't really speak to the Doom franchise. And then, of course, when the release dropped, they were an integral part of the game that were freaking fantastic, that helped tie in the soundtrack aspect as well with the slowing down and pulsing of the beat. And the second reason is for the lack of review copies as well. This was before Bethesda actually announced they weren't doing review copies anymore, but there were no review copies for the single player of Doom. So again, nobody really knew that those early gameplay videos we saw were no longer true. Until we got our hands on it.
It was absolutely bizarre because I remember it was like an emotional roller coaster. It was Doom's going to be, there's no review copies coming out. It's going to be terrible. And then I heard from a couple of early review impressions, they're like, oh yeah, no, it's all right. It's not that great. It's like, oh, and then it came out and everyone was saying it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell was going on.
It was even more bizarre that they did, I believe, an open beta for the multiplayer, which was not great.
No, that's not indicative of the game at all.
No, so the only things we'd seen of the game were these early gameplay videos, which were terrible. The multiplayer, which you and I played, Abe, and thought, okay, it's not crap, but it's just pretty copy paste online
it's very
FPS multiplayer.
Yeah.
As you said, none of it was indicative of all of the final single player campaign experience that we were given.
No, very, very strange considering it seems like Bethesda didn't know what they had on their hands.
Yeah.
Didn't know how good it was. No one really knew how it was going to be, how people were going to receive it. So, yeah, very, very bizarre move by Bethesda especially. I'm not sure if it had much to do with that, but Bethesda. Second nomination, Balthazar.
Second nomination is for Let It Die. Let It Die is a free game on PS4, absolutely free to everyone, not just PS Plus. And the reason this is nominated is, I guess, because of the circumstances surrounding its release, which was at the was it at PSX or was it at the Game Awards?
I think it was PlayStation Experience.
PlayStation Experience, yeah, sounds likely. This game was announced as being the latest game in development by Suda51, the madman who brought us Killer 7 and Killer is Dead, two just absolutely bonkers games, both of which personal favourites on the generations that they came out in, one on PS2, one on PS3. And as soon as it was announced, it was immediately followed up with the statement that it was immediately available for download from the PlayStation Store for free for everyone. So not only had he been working on this game in secret and not let anyone know, but he wasn't even going to charge you for it, and it was done. And go get it.
Yeah, that was mind blowing. There was a few of those sort of shadow drops at the PlayStation Experience saying, "Oh, this is available now. This is available now," but that was the biggest sort of full game. Like the other ones were demos, Parappa the Rapper and stuff like that. This was a full game that's free. I didn't realize it was free for people who didn't have PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, just absolutely free. Head to the PlayStation Store, go to the section free games. It's just sitting there. Just sitting there,
waiting for you to download it. Yeah.
What else is in the free games section? Just out of interest.
Stuff like DC Universe Online, Warframe.
Oh yes, Warframe. Yep,
PlanetSide 2. Yeah.
Not too bad games, I guess. But I get. Yeah, you've been having a blast with Let It Die, right?
I have. Yeah, I was playing some just before we started recording. Fought a pretty interesting boss who's blind, so uses sonar to try find you. I was sneaking around behind him. My pants broke. Your pants broke, Abe. It was Abraham. I resurrected him. I got Abraham back, and your pants broke and fell off mid-fight.
Story of my life, man.
Yep. Running around punching monsters with no pants on.
Yeah, my pants are always falling off. It's sort of lingering from when I used to low ride back in the day. So good on you, Suda51, Let It Die.
And the third and final nomination for most Hideo Kojima move not pulled by Hideo Kojima goes to Nintendo for partnering with Apple.
Yeah, this is something I'm not sure no one could have predicted this. Nintendo partnering with Apple for Super Mario Run, and probably more, I would imagine, in the future there. But yeah, I mean, two huge companies that are doing very, very well for themselves. They're not hemorrhaging money or anything, and they're joining together, or they're working together at least. They're not.
And it seems to be paying off because, as far as I know, Super Mario Run has killed it.
It's got 2.5 out of 5 score on the Apple Store.
That's not
really?
Good.
People are really unhappy that this game made by Nintendo, infamous for charging you for their products, is asking you for money to play it. People are outraged. They're outraged that Nintendo would have the gall to charge for their game.
How much is it?
I don't know, because it's one of those ones that is free to try, and then when you've played a few levels, it's like, hey, if you want to unlock the full game, this is what it costs. I just downloaded it just before on my phone, and so I haven't gotten up to that point yet. But just reading through the reviews, I think it's about $15.
It is exactly. You're exactly right. It's Australian. It's $14.99. So it's about it's probably about 17 over here.
And I guess it kind of baffles my mind again that people are outraged by this. I guess maybe because it just wasn't an upfront cost stated in the. In the store when you go to get it. Maybe if they'd done it that way, people wouldn't have been outraged and it would have a higher score.
Interesting. I mean, I do know the outrage because I do, I work at a video game company, an app company, and I know the outrage of people. I bear the full brunt of that. People being like, well, isn't it free? And, devs have got to eat, man. Like, free to play isn't the right model for every game.
Yeah, and I think with Super Mario Run, it's because it's not even following the free-to-play model. The free-to-play model obviously being the full game is free. You could technically play through the whole thing. It'll just have some sort of energy system to make you wait and want to spend money to speed it up. Or, you'll have a subpar experience, like maybe you can only hold 5 items or something like that instead of an unlimited inventory or what have you. But Super Mario Run isn't that. It's not free to play. You can play a couple. It's a demo, basically. It's a demo that then asks you to pay a full, app game price to get the rest of the game. And I think that's where they went wrong, is they didn't market it as a demo. It's not a free to play game. It is just, it's a game where 90% of it is behind a paywall and they don't advertise that.
Nintendo.
Perhaps for that reason, it's not necessarily going to be the winner of our Hideo Kojima Award.
I don't know, though. Ground Zeroes. He made us pay full price for a demo as well. So.
Oh, true. There's a wee bit of a parallel going on there. Do you guys, just speaking about the Nintendo thing still, do you guys think that we may see in future Donkey Kong Jump, Metroid Fly, various other Nintendo properties? Metroid Roll, yeah, there you go.
Fucking Link Slash.
Yeah. Do you think that's entirely possible?
I hope so. It'd be great. As long as they market it properly and actually tell you what you're getting. I'd love to see some more Nintendo IP stuff on mobile,
Especially if it's a gateway into them actually, using other people's hardware for their games. I'm all about that.
Nintendo stuff on more platforms. I'm all for that as well. Just wish they'd be smarter in the way they market things. Now, what do you guys reckon here? I'm having a tough time with this one.
My vote is probably going to be on Let It Die, purely because it's one of those things that clearly is working, yet I couldn't have seen it coming, I suppose. It's inexplicable as to why they sort of kind of went down that route, but it's pulled, they pulled it off. So my money's on Let It Die.
I mean, when is the last time you hear of a full game being made free and available immediately?
And I don't quite know the business plan with it, because I'm aware that there is, I believe, either currently in the game or coming to the game, a cash store. But I've been playing the game, and there's no, it's not one of those games that's bogged down by the potential inclusion of a cash store. There's nothing. My gameplay experience isn't limited at all. I can't imagine what they could add with a cash store. It's a really strange choice, and it definitely, it's very Hideo Kojima. So my vote's going to go for that as well.
All right. Well, no, I think that's unanimous. I'm with Let It Die as well. So congratulations, Let It Die. Most Hideo Kojima move not pulled by Hideo Kojima was by Suda51, which, I mean, pretty weird. So, bit of a weird, weird dude, weird company anyway. But no one saw that shit coming. All right, let's move on to the second to last award of the show. We've still got the big one.
I believe it's the third to last, actually.
Is it third to last? Is my doc not down properly?
Yeah, we've missed out one of the big ones further up in the doc, which is Developer of the Year. But we can come back to that one.
All right, we'll do this one, then we'll do Developer of the Year, and then we'll do the Game of the Year, or AKA Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence. All right, so we'll do this next one. Most botched release of 2016. So we
slightly different because I'm sort of thinking about the shit show award. A little bit different in that it kind of is purely about the release of the game.
This isn't necessarily anything about it doesn't even speak to the game being bad necessarily, just that something about its release went horribly wrong. Even I don't believe that is the case for any of our nominations, but it could even mean something like there wasn't enough stock, no retailers had enough. Botched release just means at release something went horribly wrong.
Yeah. So it doesn't speak to the quality of the game itself. It just speaks to something not being there or not being right in terms of the game itself. So, the first nomination here, Regan. Do you want to read this one out?
Yeah, first nomination is Watch Dogs 2. And you might wonder to yourself, why Watch Dogs 2? But basically there was a big old fuck up with the multiplayer in the game when it first released. and it had to be kind of a big old patch that came up to actually make that stuff work. Which, given that, well, not a good chunk, but a portion of that game is based around kind of hacking in and out of people's games. It's relatively key part of the game.
Yeah, and I think it wasn't available for a good 4 weeks or something like that.
Quite a while, I think. Yeah. So that's our first botched release of this year.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, indeed. Especially from a company as large as Ubisoft.
Yeah. I mean, what do we expect?
Yeah, well, yeah, touche.
I expect a Prince of Persia quality release.
Yeah. Second nominee this year is Firewatch. You might recall the terrible frame rate issues that game had on release, which got patched out, I think maybe about a week or two after it released.
It wasn't too far after, but it actually made me feel sick, that game, when I was playing it, because it did almost feel like a PowerPoint presentation. It was that bad. From the very opening moments of you started in an elevator. There's not much, graphically intensive going on, but it was horrific. It was so draggy. It was, it actually made me feel nauseous, and for that reason, it gets on the list for me. It was terrible. It was the worst frame rate issues I've ever seen in any game on release.
There you go. And our third nomination for the most botched release of 2016, The Division. Because for the first, was it day or two or something, it was patched quite quickly. The Division was essentially a line simulator where people were literally having to line up at an in-game laptop to try and log in to the servers.
So people were in-game, in their avatars, forming a line to use a laptop.
Give it a Google. It's a hilarious thing to see. Which is pretty incredible. I believe the reason they had to do this was that if two people tried to access the laptop at any one time, everyone was kicked. So that was good stuff. So The Division gets our third nominee, most botched release.
I mean, when you think about why games exist as a form of escapism, as a way to avoid things like waiting in line, digital purchases and all that sort of stuff, The Division really fucked it.
Yeah, it really did. To be fair, it was still playable. It was just it took a while to get in there.
Yeah.
What are your votes, lads?
Balthazar, you can go first, man.
My vote here, hopefully not to sway everyone again, but I'll use my logic working backwards. I actually didn't hear about the no multiplayer issue in Watch Dogs 2.
Okay.
So because of that, I can't vote that, because for me, the most botched release has to be something, that I heard of. Be like, it was that bad, because I haven't played any of the games on this list. So for me to have I had to have heard about it for it to have been a truly botched release, and I didn't hear about that lack of multiplayer. So I can't vote Watch Dogs 2. The Division. It sounds interesting, it wasn't working as intended, but the community got together, created their own workaround, and if you actually look back at the Reddit pages and everything at that time, time-stamped for that period, it actually sounds like the organizers of the lines were having a lot of fun with it. So while it wasn't the intended way for the product to be released, it sounds like the game itself, as you said, Regan, was still playable, and a lot of people were still having fun with it in that state. The same can't be said for Firewatch with the frame rate issues it had on PS4. As you said, it made you physically sick to try and play it through that frame rate. It was just mentally challenging to look at it while it was doing that. So I've got to give it to Firewatch for actually the game itself not really being playable at all upon launch.
Yeah, it was a massive blow to me, because I'd been looking forward to that game. It looked really interesting, looked minimal, had a cool looking art style, and everything was there. I just couldn't get through it.
They had that art style that they stole from that Toyota ad, didn't they?
Well, the other way around. Ford pinched their art assets, but it was a shame, because I could see this, I could see it through the mist, I could see a good game there, but I just couldn't get it. I couldn't access it. It was painful, and I paid $30 for it. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, Regan, where do you come down on this, man?
We'll give. I mean, I played Watch Dogs 2, but I played it after the multiplayer was sorted. And to be honest, I was never a huge fan of the way that the multiplayer worked in Watch Dogs anyway. So I'm okay with that one.
Yeah.
The Division was just hilarious, which is great. It's just funny, really. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but if your game comes out and it's not playable, especially if it's not particularly graphically demanding from what we can see, then that's not cool. So I've also given it to Firewatch.
Nice one. Well, that's I'm also on the Firewatch camp. So congratulations, Campo Santo and Firewatch. Most watched release. I did like that game after it got patched, but we can't ignore that. That was pretty bad there. So we'll go back to the previous nomination, which was Developer of the Year. So let's have a look at these nominees, because this is going to be a tough one. This is very, very competitive.
Oh, absolutely. And we're into the last two. The last two awards are our big ones. I'd imagine that as soon as we announce these, there's going to be large spikes in the stock price of the companies that we're talking about. So I mean, it's important that we really dissect these and get them right. If only for the sake of the companies involved. So Abe, tell us about Developer of the Year.
Okay, well, Developer of the Year, we've got 4 nominees here, and Developer of the Year goes to the developer who overall has just, has done the best stuff for the consumer, has had the consumer in mind the entire way, has produced a good product, hasn't felt like they've, ripped people off or had ulterior motives or anything like that. And the first nominee for Developer of the Year, quite unsurprisingly, I would say, is Naughty Dog. Now, Naughty Dog are synonymous with quality, and have been for some time now. I'm thinking of everything that Naughty Dog has put out into the world this year, and not one piece was I disappointed in. Not one piece made me think, fuck that, Sony's obviously made them do that. So I'm thinking of Uncharted 4, great game, phenomenal game.
Yep.
Uncharted 4 multiplayer, a solid multiplayer, nothing wrong with that. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with it. Uncharted 4 multiplayer DLC, which is all free, apart from cosmetic items, which you can buy, which is, no one really cares about that. That's the same as every game. They've also got the free update, which has just come out, Uncharted 4 survival horde mode type thing for the multiplayer, which is like a massive thing that they've just released, which is absolutely fantastic. They also put out into the world a teaser for The Last of Us 2, which was, amazing. Like everyone wants that, and it looked just gorgeous. They did it in a wonderful, wonderful way. And the Uncharted 4 standalone story thingy that's coming out next year as well. So all the stuff, which is just all positive to me. I can't think of a single negative thing that Naughty Dog have put out into the world this year.
They also partnered with Sony to create what have been heralded as the clearest, best sounding surround sound Bluetooth headphones.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Naughty
exclusively for the PS4.
Naughty Dog headset.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so for that reason, Naughty Dog are just, they're one of the developers of the year for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Next one.
Up.
Balthazar, you want to talk about this one?
Sure, yeah. So the name I threw into the pool here is Blizzard. Obviously the biggest one of the year having been Overwatch. Phenomenal game, quality game on launch. They've also added additional characters, maps, everything like that. All future content for that game that's not cosmetic is free. Sure, they may release an expansion down the line or something you'll have to pay for, but when they're just adding a map, a game mode, a character, that's all been free so far. The servers have been for an exclusively multiplayer game, reliably up. I've never not been able to log in. I've never not been able to find a game, never had, stability issues in a game or anything like that. Now, while that's the big one, that's not all Blizzard's done this year. They released Legion, the latest World of Warcraft expansion, which has again been acclaimed as the greatest expansion to World of Warcraft that's restored it to its glory days, that they've clearly listened to what the community has asked for and wanted, and gone ahead and created an expansion that caters to that. They've continued to add content to the game since releasing Legion. They've released new dungeons. They've again been dipping into the community pool and time warping dungeons, which I don't really understand what that means. I think it means you can go back to previous dungeons and play them kind of, you get scaled down, so you're playing them as they were intended to be experienced when the game first came out. Which again, I believe was something the community was saying, it'd be really great if we could have those experiences again where we don't just easily smash through everything. So they've gone ahead and done that. There's been another couple of seasons of Diablo 3, the new seasons that come out for that. Again, stable, the quality you expect, the gameplay you expect, everything you want. They've released the Nova mission packs and additional commanders for the cooperative multiplayer for StarCraft 2. And
those are free as well?
No, so those are paid add-ons, as is the Nova mission packs. It's like an extra campaign you can get. What else? I mean, Hearthstone's always going strong and releasing more stuff as well. Really, just Blizzard has released something for all their major IPs, and they've released a new major IP this year. And everything has been completely strong. And maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but I don't really think anyone has anything negative to say about Blizzard this year. Everything they've done seems to have been for the community and to take, Sony's tag for the gamer. They really seem to care this year and have done everything for their audience.
Yeah, they've obviously been warding away the Activision part of the partnership, and just keeping things in house and keeping things good, and consumer friendly there. So very, very well done, Blizzard there. Reagan.
So the third nominee on our list of Developer of the Year this year, who, after hearing Balthazar talk about Blizzard, probably haven't done quite as much, in terms of actually releasing content and things this year. But we thought we'd give them a mention purely because they tick a few of the things that Abe spoke about at the beginning. CD Projekt Red. Last year was probably a bigger year for them with the release of The Witcher 3. This year they have sort of two releases. One was what we all agreed was a phenomenal piece of DLC for The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine.
Yeah, I mean, it was an expansion, right? They don't even like to use the word DLC because
true.
Sort of
they give their
skin or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. Their DLC is generally free and it's something small like a skin or a pack of like beard styles that Geralt can rock, which I'm down on. I love beards.
I mean, the Blood and Wine had more content than some games released.
Yeah.
Some other games released this year, and it's a bloody expansion pack.
Exactly. All the stories in there, that came within that are phenomenal. The whole new area that they built for that. The characters in there were great, and the expansions to things like armor sets and all those kind of next steps for that game were excellent.
Yep.
They've also expanded upon the Witcher universe, and I guess what will be the last kind of release for Witcher stuff from CD Projekt Red for a long, long time in releasing the Gwent standalone game.
Yeah.
Which, from what I've heard, is pretty good. I haven't had a chance to play it myself. So we've got two solid releases there. And of course, Abe mentioned at the beginning, it's about the community. And we know that CD Projekt Red always have their community in mind when they make business decisions and the prices and things that we see on their store, GOG. Is always phenomenal. So for those reasons, for some quality releases this year and for some good work on their community, we have CD Projekt Red. Very, very well done, CD Projekt Red. The final nominee we have on here, which is again a wee bit for some different reasons than the previous ones, but it's id Software. Now, id Software put out obviously Doom this year, which has already taken out a few awards there, but the reason id Software gets on this list is because, as I briefly mentioned at the start, they had essentially made a good chunk of a game. They'd made a Doom game back in
a couple of years ago sort of thing. They were bringing this thing to fruition under the Bethesda umbrella and under the ZeniMax umbrella. And they just decided to can it. They thought, hey, no, this isn't Doom. This isn't what people know and love and want. We're not happy with this. We're not happy with putting out that product. How often do you hear of a development, A, being that honest about things, and B, being willing to scrapping years of work probably because they don't feel it lives up to the standard of what their fans want?
Not very often, and I guess you could say that they were in a privileged position to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's certainly very brave to throw away all of that and say, hey, you know what, this is shit. Like we need to make sure we're delivering on our fans. But definitely there for the community for sure.
Yeah. I just think they've been listening to their community. They remind me of early days Bungie. Bungie back with Halo 2 and Halo 3. They used to have a very, very vocal community, and they'd have weekly podcasts from the devs and stuff like that, interacting with the community. Now, God knows what goes on because it's Destiny and all that sort of nonsense. Activision's in there, getting their hands dirty. But it just seems like id Software are just a really good bunch of people, striving to bring something creative and something interesting into the world, and just putting their best foot forward, kind of thing.
There you go. Nomination. Who are you going for?
Oof, this is such a tough one. This is so tough.
I'll throw my vote in first.
Yeah.
Because I'm decided on Blizzard, because not only did they do what Naughty Dog and CD Projekt Red did, as in, putting out quality releases, free add-on content, caring about the community, they did it in a higher volume than either of the other two, while still maintaining the same quality as the other two. But you mentioned, Abe, id Software is on that list, obviously for a different reason than the other three.
Yeah. Yep.
They're on there because they took a project that was, far along in development, that had taken years of blood, sweat, and tears, and they scrapped it because they felt it was wrong for what they wanted to achieve and what the community wanted. That's exactly what Blizzard did. Blizzard was making an MMO called Titan, and they'd poured years of blood, sweat, and tears into developing this thing, and they just couldn't get it right. They felt that it wasn't the message they wanted to put out, it wasn't what the community wanted, and it wouldn't be their standard of quality that they were used to putting out. So they scrapped the whole thing. They salvaged what assets the community had said they did love, and they repurposed that into Overwatch. So not only did Blizzard do what Naughty Dog and CD Projekt Red did, they also did what id Software did, which supposedly separated it from the others, and they did it all in a high volume and high quality. So without a doubt, my vote goes to Blizzard for this year. Outstanding 2016 from Blizzard.
Nice one, Reagan.
I keep thinking that I've made up my mind on this one, and then Balthazar goes on a Blizzard tirade, and I go, you know what? Shit, maybe he's right.
He does make very convincing arguments.
Very convincing arguments, and
I was a lawyer in a previous life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't. I've played a bit of Overwatch this year, and the small amount of Overwatch that I played was phenomenal. I've played a lot more of Naughty Dog's stuff this year, so. Yeah, but kind of hearing the arguments for either party makes me want to lean towards, perhaps controversially, I'm going to give my vote to Blizzard.
Nice. Very, very good. Very good. Well, this is going to be easy because I'm also voting for Blizzard. So, because, as you mentioned, Balthazar, not only did they produce a fully fledged rebuilt hero shooter that had been scrapped previously, and they weren't happy with these ideas. They continued to support that, and they also continued to support all their other IP, and essentially didn't really make a bad move. So I'm happy with that. Congratulations, Blizzard, developer of the year.
It's a big one. Blizzard. Watch those stock rise.
All right. Well, now we're on to the actual big one. The big one, the final, the finale, finito, game of the year, the outstanding achievement in the field of excellence. We've got 3 nominations here, one proposed by each one of us. Now, the way this is going to work, because obviously we're not going to vote for someone else's, that'll be a plot twist, but the way this is going to work, I think, is just we're just going to talk about our game of the year. We're going to tell everyone what our game of the year was, and we're sort of going to justify why it was our game of the year, I think. So, I mean, let's do a random number generator to see who starts, because I feel like it's a bit tricky seeing who goes first. All right, number 2. Who's 2?
I think that's me.
Reagan.
That's me. Yeah. So
what your game of the year is, man?
So my game of the year this year, which is perhaps a little bit ironic in that it's not really a full game, is one that I mentioned slightly earlier. And the game that I had the most fun with this year personally, which was the same as last year, is The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine expansion. Mostly because I'm a bit of a nut for fantasy settings anyway. The Witcher 3 was easily my game of the year last year, and for me, I got a lot of value out of this expansion in terms of game time, what it added to the original game, how it built upon the universe. It was a whole new area. There were lots of characters, lots of storylines and things to explore, and was just a really kind of fitting end to the massive adventure that we'd all sort of been on with the original game.
It was a sort of farewell to Geralt, right?
It was, yeah. I mean, we all know that sort of CD Projekt Red are moving on and they're working on Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever it is. And so, for a lot of people, The Witcher 3 was their first foray into the Witcher series. And I feel like you could almost look at The Witcher as, or The Witcher 3 as kind of its own trilogy in and of itself in a way. You've got, the core game that was released, the first expansion,
Hearts of Stone.
Hearts of Stone, thank you. And then Blood and Wine, all with kind of their own sort of flavour to them. That sort of took us on these various journeys. And if you know anything about like the books and things, some of the short stories and things that are written are very tongue-in-cheek and very light and kind of hearty, and some of them are really serious and dark. And so, Blood and Wine was just a really nice kind of sort of summarising of that whole thing.
Send off,
exactly. So for that, all those reasons, and just because I had a bloody good time with it, my game of the year is the Blood and Wine expansion.
Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. Congratulations.
Yeah, there you go.
Good stuff. Balthazar, do you want to go next?
All right. I'll go next, if only because mine is not even slightly a surprise to anyone at all. Overwatch is my game of the year. And in a lot of ways, it's funny because the reason I nominate it as my game of the year is for reasons that Reagan talked about nominating Witcher 3, even though they're very different games. Overwatch is a shooter. It's a team-based hero shooter, pushing payloads along maps or capturing points, in King of the Hill style maps. But they've created a world here, like what feels like a living, breathing world that I care about. And while that world isn't necessarily, the story of the world isn't, spoken of in the game or revealed through gameplay, Blizzard have put out these comics, these short films, these articles, all these things that dive you deeper into the world, and give you more of an explanation of what's going on there, more of a feel of what it's all about. And I mean, I've consumed all of that. I've read all the comics, I've read all the kind of articles that they've put up that are, fake gazettes from in the world or old character diaries and things like that. I've watched all the videos and I'm fully immersed in this world, despite the fact that none of the world building happens in the game. It's all externally. And I find that really interesting that, it can be, a first-person shooter can be comparable in world building to an open-world RPG, given that the game itself doesn't do any of that world building. But I'm just in love with Overwatch as an IP, as a whole. It's just incredible. I love everything about it. And by far, it's got the most hours this year out of any game I've played. I don't even want to look what my game time is. It's going to be in the quadruple digits.
Yeah,
I'd say. It's just, and it's going to keep going. This is the only year that Overwatch has released so it's the only year that I can give it Game of the Year, while there's another game that I probably love a comparable amount for very different reasons. This is the only year I can nominate Overwatch for Game of the Year, but I know that I'm going to play Overwatch for many years to come. This isn't the only year I'm going to play this fucking game.
It's got that longevity.
Exactly. So it needs the acknowledgement from me as a, someone who has established themselves now as someone who's going to be a long-time fan. Overwatch for me.
Nice.
Overwatch.
Congratulations, Overwatch.
Good job, Blizzard.
Good stuff. Well, that brings to me my game of the year. It was a toughie. But once I played this game, this game came out of nowhere and completely floored me. I had pretty much no expectations for this. My game of the year is Titanfall 2. Now this is Respawn's sequel to the original Titanfall, which came out on Xbox One and I think Xbox 360, although God knows what it would have played like on that. Titanfall 1, I never really played. I watched my flatmate play it a little bit, and I mean, when the announcement came out and it was mechs and fighting, I was like, oh yeah, well, that's original, isn't it? Titanfall 2 is the most creative game I've played in many, many, many years. Most creative shooter even. It's phenomenal. It's this sort of mixture of it's as I mentioned the last podcast, it's got this humor that's Borderlands-esque but not obnoxious and not, quoting old memes from the internet and stuff like that. It's just self-aware and slightly cartoony and fun. It's also got this mixture of puzzle elements into it. So it reminds me of something like Portal 2 at times, where there's time travel and there's there's platforming sections and stuff like that. And then it goes and also throws another thing into the mix with this phenomenal movement and locomotion system. This is the best feeling game I've played since Halo, since I originally played Halo. By far, it's just absolutely gorgeous. You can wall run on any wall that you want to. If there's a sort of uneven part on that wall and you happen to wall run on it, you can still wall run on it. You're just going to fall to your death because you're an idiot and you tried to run along a little bit of wall that you couldn't. It's like the developers are just like, you can use these mechanics anywhere you want. Just be logical. Just be logical about it. And that's something that I haven't seen in games for a long, long time. It's just sort of, they give you these tools and they say, hey, go use them how you want to use them. Do whatever you want. That in combination with that sort of idea is in the multiplayer and campaign both. But the campaign is what I want to praise the most, because I mean, this is just it's not an amazing story. It's just really, really well executed. So you've got a partner, your Titan is called BT. And it reminded me of something like the Iron Giant, where there's just this amazing bond that you form with your Titan, and it's got that inherent humor that comes from a machine not quite understanding nuances of emotion and things like that. But yeah, like that mixed with just really, really cool, polished mechanics and just things that they didn't need to have. Like every time you jump into your Titan, whether you're entering from the ground or from midair, it'll have a different animation. And your Titan might like pluck you out of midair if you're jumping towards them and put you in the cab, or you'll climb up them if you're on the ground and stuff like that. Just things they really didn't need to do, that they just took the time to pop in there. And I just really, really appreciated that. So for making me feel like some sort of badass shinobi with firearms, Titanfall 2 is my game of the year.
There it is. Good job.
Now, I think we should also touch on honourable mentions, because we've each got one honourable mention. So, Regan, what was your honourable mention, man?
My honourable mention was Uncharted 4.
Nice.
Not purely, but because I think they really brought a whole new level of story and storytelling to the Uncharted series with that game.
Yeah.
And also because I'm always just blown away with the level of kind of tech that they can bring to the Uncharted games. Like, have you ever seen a better looking game run on a PlayStation 4? Probably not. So that was my honourable mention of this year, and was really close to being my game of the year. Especially given that my game of the year wasn't really a game of its own. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with picking up Uncharted 4. I think it's a must-have if you have a PlayStation 4.
Absolutely. I mean, when I played it, I thought it was a phenomenal game. It wasn't quite to the level of it didn't quite deliver on what I wanted it to deliver. It didn't give me those, those shivers and stuff like that sort of Uncharted 2 and things like that gave me. But it was just so well made, so well executed, that, it's a phenomenal game, that.
It really is, yeah. Balthazar.
My honourable mention this year is somewhat of a controversial one. A lot of people didn't like this game for various reasons, but it's The Last Guardian. Now, people who didn't really like this game did so because of the disobedience of Trico, your giant creature companion. So I should preface everything great I'm about to say about this game with the simple fact that my playthrough has been flawless. He's obeyed me every time I've asked him to do something, and any time he's not done a command I've issued, it's because I fucked up. He's not meant to do that. That's not something that I should be wanting him to do in that situation. I'm just not in the right headspace to be thinking logically about completing a puzzle. So I'm trying to get him to do something stupid that wouldn't work, and that's why he's not doing it, not because he's disobedient. So I do want to say that I think a lot of people out there who are saying, oh, he doesn't do what I want him to do, he never goes where I say, he never does what I tell him to. I think it's just that you're in the wrong mindset and you're not thinking about how to get through things the way the game wants you to. And yeah, in a lot of ways, that's a bad thing about the game. It forces you to play it the way it wants you to play it rather than you being able to play it how you want to. But that really is how you need to play The Last Guardian. You need to play it the way it wants you to play it, because it wants you to pretty much just chill, relax, and just experience The Last Guardian. And if you do that, it's phenomenal. It was close to my game of the year. For the same reason as Overwatch saying this game's not going to come out again. It can never be up here and nominated for this ever again, and I really want it to get a lot of recognition because it had, without a doubt, the single most just beautiful and epic set-piece moment of any game I've ever played. Uncharted games are, are renowned for that, for the set-piece moments just being top-notch, but this moment, I can't even talk about it because it's a spoiler. And I know how keenly you want to pick up the game, Abe, so I can't mention it all. But there is one moment in this game where you think everything's gone to shit and you're all about to die and you fucked up and you're going to have to restart the sequence. But it's just amazing what happens, and kind of it hits that point where even if you've been butting heads with Trico throughout the game that far, maybe you have had a playthrough where you felt he's not obeying you and not doing what you want. When you get to that moment, it's just so beautiful where kind of you both just come together almost as this one consciousness to become this one entity and overcome this obstacle. It's amazing. It really is. And it's something that I encourage everyone to experience who can, because it's just such a beautiful game.
Awesome. So would you put that up there with Shadow of the Colossus? Has it done that legacy proud?
It has, for very different reasons. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus was incredible for the gameplay, and for the fact that it dared to basically just make a game of the best bits that people wanted to do in games, without the filler in the middle and the padding. Last Guardian doesn't do that. It definitely doesn't feel so much like it's focusing on the gameplay. It's focusing on what it wants to tell you through the gameplay. But in that respect, it does that as admirably as Shadow of the Colossus did its gameplay, definitely.
Very cool, very cool. Last Guardian, honourable mention, close to being the game of the year. All right, well, my honourable mention is probably not that surprising either. I've talked about this game loads on the podcast before, but it's Playdead's Inside. Now, this, I've been waiting for this for a long, long time. I don't think there was a lot of hype for this. I know a lot of people, when I asked them, do you see the trailer for Inside? They're like, what? No one knew what the hell this was. A lot of people played Limbo. But I don't think really people followed the developer or anything. This is a developer that I've been watching like a hawk, waiting for their next thing. And when I found out that because Inside was originally an Xbox exclusive for quite a while there, and then they popped out on PC and PS4. But I was absolutely gutted when I found that out, and I was actually contemplating buying an Xbox One just for Inside. And it wouldn't have been the worst decision to be honest, because this game is so good. I'm a big proponent of less is more with a lot of my media, and Inside does what it does so well. It's just very, very minimal. There's only sort of left, right, up, down, and your interact, jump, and your interact button. One interact button. That's all there is. That's all there is to the game. That's all you need. It plays with perspective really interestingly. It plays with ideas, Orwellian ideas like 1984 and mind control and Big Brother and all that sort of stuff. Really interesting, gorgeous, haunting game that it came and went pretty fast. It's only about 4 hours, but I played through it twice in a row, and then I watched someone else play it because it's just one of those games that I just love everyone experiencing, and I love seeing how everyone solves the puzzles and just their reactions to various things that happen in the game, or even just the atmosphere and people's theories as to what's going on. This is the game I'm going to be theorizing about for years and years, because I still don't really know what the hell is going on. As Regan alluded to earlier, the ending of this game is absolutely bizarre.
I had to sort of stop and just after I finished the game, it was kind of think that did that just happen? Was that the conclusion to this game? It's
It almost, like, if you go into it with a certain mindset, it'll come off as some sort of wanky art house indie project. But if you approach it just as an experience kind of thing, and you're just fully involved in this game, I think it's absolutely phenomenal piece of game design, and well worth accolades, many accolades. So yeah, my honourable mention is Playdead's Inside.
There we go. Well, let's give that one a round of applause too.
Well done, all the honourable mentions, all absolutely top-notch video games. And I think that brings us to the end of the Overcast Gamer for 2016.
It sure does. It's been a good year. It's been a good year.
It has been a very good year, and there'll be much more to come next year. And, hopefully things outside of video games will improve for the world. But, we'll have to see. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in over these last... When did we start this? Was it May or something? It's 6 months at least, right?
Yeah. I think it's been more than a year, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we're on episode 24, I believe. So 2 weeks times that by 2.
About a year.
So maybe just over a year. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to us yammer on about games every second week. And when we put up videos and stuff like that, reading reviews, all that sort of nonsense, it's really very much appreciated. We love doing this, and it's such a cool outlet to have, to be able to just yarn about video games and something that's very personal and important to us. So cheers everyone for tuning in. Definitely make sure to check out the YouTube channel. Just search Overcast Gamer. I did a Rise of the Tomb Raider stream, very first stream. So forgive me for the weird sort of meandering conversation that goes on with myself during the stream. I'm not particularly good at multitasking, so puzzle solving, combat, and trying to narrate what I'm doing, I found particularly challenging. So check that out. It's about 2 hours if you want to see some Rise of the Tomb Raider, very mediocre playing. Anything you guys want to plug?
I say just keep an eye out on things for 2017. I like to think that we're going to get a lot more going in terms of live streams and things like that.
Sure.
Because it's that sort of stuff is what the kids are listening to these days, so to speak.
Yeah.
So definitely keep an eye out on the channel and for changes in our content coming up. And thanks for all the support, team. Yeah.
Cheers, everyone. Balthazar, you got any sort of parting words?
Any plugs or
anything like that?
I mean, really, just thanks for listening. Continue to check out the YouTube channel and overcastgamer.com. Over the next year, I guess we are aiming to do a bit more video content with the old streams, with the old reviews.
Yeah. I think so. We don't do too many videos at the moment just because we don't have the resources nor the time at present.
But you've got your wicked broadband upgrade.
Yeah. Got some sort of insane super fiber connection thing going on, so I can do some streams every now and then, which is cool. We'll probably do some group streams if we can get that lined up, which would be really, really good. And there'll be loads of sweet games coming out next year that we can all chow down on and have a yarn about. So
maybe Nintendo will change their share policies so we can do some stuff on the Switch.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Depending on if the Switch has DCHP protection we might be able to stream from the Switch or anything like that. There'll be loads of good Zelda stuff to talk about. Balthazar, I know you're a massive fan of that. Can't wait for that to come out. I'll probably be picking up a Switch, to be honest, because it just looks like a really interesting thing to have. And I think that just about wraps us up. So thanks again for tuning in, everyone, and have a wonderful Christmas and New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey. 2016.
See you guys. Thanks
for
listening.
Team.